Imagine, if you will, that your current reality is like a garment you wear. It may feel comfortable, familiar, even inevitable, but I assure you it is no more permanent or real than the clothes on your back. You can change it just as easily as you change your attire. The secret lies in recognizing and utilizing the God-gifted power within you. Now you might be wondering, Neville, how can I use this power to manifest my desired life? And therein lies the crux of our discussion today. The power to manifest your desires lies not in some external deity, but within you. It is your consciousness, your awareness, that is the very substance of reality. You see, the world you experience is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Every circumstance, every event, every interaction in your life is a reflection of your inner state. These are not random occurrences, but the outpicturing of your assumptions and beliefs. When you truly grasp this, you understand the immense power you hold to shape your reality. So how do we begin to use this God-gifted power to manifest our desired life? The first step is to clearly define what you wish to manifest. What is it that you truly desire? Be specific. Don't simply say, I want to be happy. Instead, imagine in vivid detail what your life looks like when you have achieved your desire. How do you feel? What are you doing? How do you spend your time? The more specific and detailed your vision, the more real it becomes in your mind. Once you have this clear vision, the next step is to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial. You must feel the reality of your desire now, not in some distant future. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't understand time. It only understands the present moment. So if you constantly feel that your desire is something in the future, it will always remain in the future. Instead, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now. How would you feel if your desire were already realized? Would you feel joyful, confident, free, grateful? Embody these feelings. Live from this state of being. This is not pretending or lying to yourself. This is assuming a new state of consciousness, which is the very essence of using your God-gifted power. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I feel something that isn't yet true? This is where the power of your imagination comes into play. Your imagination is the bridge between your current reality and your desired state. It is through your imagination that you can step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even before it manifests in the physical world. Your imagination is not a flight of fancy or a frivolous faculty. It is the very workshop wherein you fashion your future. When you imagine, you are experiencing reality at its most fundamental level. You are engaging with the pure potential of consciousness, shaping it with your attention and your assumption. To use your imagination effectively, you must first quiet your conscious mind. The chattering of your daily thoughts, your worries, your doubts, these must be silenced. Enter a state of relaxation, a state akin to sleep, but in which you remain consciously aware. In this state, your subconscious mind becomes more receptive to impression. Once in this relaxed state, construct your scene. This scene should be one that implies the fulfillment of your desire. If your desire is for a successful career, you might imagine yourself in your ideal office or receiving congratulations from colleagues. If it's financial abundance you seek, imagine yourself looking at your bank statement with joy and gratitude. The scene should be short and simple. It's not about creating an elaborate story, but about capturing a moment that implies your desire is now a fact. This scene is your platform, the stage upon which you will enact the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now step into this scene. Don't watch it as a spectator, but experience it from the first-person perspective. Be there in that moment. And as you experience it, let the feeling of fulfillment wash over you. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction of having your desire realized. This is where many falter in their attempts to use their God-gifted power. They can see the scene clearly, but they fail to evoke the feeling. Remember, it is the feeling that gives life to your imaginal act. Without feeling, visualization is merely a mental exercise. With feeling, it becomes an act of creation. As you practice this, you may find that the feeling comes more easily with repetition. Each time you return to your scene, the feeling becomes more vivid, more real. This is good. You are strengthening the impression upon your subconscious mind. But here's a crucial point. Once you have evoked the feeling, once you have impressed it upon your subconscious, you must carry it with you into your waking life. This is where many stumble. They do their visualization exercise. They feel it intensely in the moment. But then they return to their daily life and fall back into old patterns of thought and feeling. To manifest your desired life, to truly use your God-gifted power, you must maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. When you truly grasp this, you will no longer be swayed by appearances. You will know that what you see around you is the effect, not the cause. The cause lies in your consciousness, in your feeling. And as you persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must reshape itself to match this inner conviction. Now let us address a common challenge in using your God-gifted power: the apparent contradictions of your senses. As you begin to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you may find that your current circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. How do you maintain your feeling in the face of these seeming contradictions? This is where the art of ignoring comes into play. To ignore is not to deny the existence of something, but to refrain from giving it your attention and energy. When contradictory evidence appears, acknowledge it briefly, then immediately return your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember, what you see in your outer world is the result of past assumptions, past feelings. It is like an echo of what you once believed. Your task now is to give more attention, more importance, more reality to your new assumption than to these outdated circumstances. This practice requires mental discipline. It requires you to stand firm in your new assumption even when your senses argue against it. But remember, your senses only show you what has been, not what can be. Your imagination, informed by your feeling, shows you what will be. As you persist in maintaining the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence, you will begin to see changes in your outer world. These changes may start small: a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity, a shift in someone's behavior towards you. Do not dismiss these as mere chance. They are the first fruits of your new assumption taking root. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of feeling and using your God-gifted power. When I speak of feeling, I am not referring merely to emotions, though emotions play a part. I am speaking of a deeper sense, a knowing, an unshakable conviction. It is the difference between saying I want to be successful and knowing in the very core of your being, I am successful. This feeling, conviction, is not something you can fake or force. It arises naturally when you have successfully impressed your desire upon your subconscious mind. This is why the repeated use of your imagination is so crucial. Each time you return to your imaginal scene, each time you step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are deepening this impression. Then think of it like wearing a groove in a record. The first time you play the record, the needle may skip and jump. But with repeated plays, the groove deepens and the music plays smoothly. Similarly, as you repeat your imaginal act, the feeling becomes more natural, more habitual. It becomes your dominant state. This is the state from which creation occurs. When you can maintain this feeling conviction throughout your day, when it becomes as natural as breathing, you have mastered the art of using your God-gifted power. Your outer world has no choice but to conform to this inner state. But what of those moments when doubt creeps in? When fear arises? When the old patterns of thought and feeling try to reassert themselves? These moments are inevitable, especially in the beginning of your practice. Do not be discouraged by them. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen your new assumption. When doubt arises, do not fight it. Fighting against the thought only gives it more power. Instead, gently but firmly return to your feeling of wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that what you see around you is the past. Your new assumption, your new feeling is creating your future. This brings us to another crucial aspect of using your God-gifted power, the concept of living in the end. Living in the end means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled in your day-to-day life. It's not enough to visualize for a few minutes each day and then return to your old patterns of thought and feeling. You must carry the feeling of your wish fulfilled with you throughout your day. This doesn't mean you deny your current circumstances. Rather, you acknowledge them briefly, then immediately return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. You live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you would feel the security, freedom, and joy of wealth as you go about your day. When you make purchases, you would feel the ease and confidence of someone who has more than enough. When you interact with others, you would carry yourself with the assurance of a wealthy person. Living in the end requires a shift in your entire way of being. It's not about pretending or play acting. It's about genuinely assuming a new state of consciousness. When you do this effectively, you'll find that your actions naturally align with your assumed state, accelerating the manifestation process. Now, let us ask the role of action in using your God-gifted power. Some people mistakenly believe that manifesting means they can simply imagine their desires and then sit back and wait for them to magically appear. This is not the case. Using your gifted power does not negate action, it informs action. When you successfully impress your desire upon your subconscious mind, when you truly feel your wish fulfilled, you will be inspired to take actions that align with this state. These actions will feel natural, even inevitable. They will not be driven by fear or lack, but will flow from your assumed state of fulfillment. This is a crucial distinction. When you take action from a place of lack, trying to get what you desire, you are actually affirming the assumption of not having it. But when you take action from the assumption of already having your desire fulfilled, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for its expression and expansion. So do not neglect action, but ensure that your actions are aligned with and flowing from your assumed state. Let your feeling guide your actions, rather than hoping your actions will create the feeling. This alignment of inner state and outer action is key to manifesting your desired life. Now, let us explore detachment in relation to using your God-gifted power. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about your desire. Rather, it means you're not anxiously attached to seeing immediate results or figuring out how your desire will manifest. When you're truly living in the end, you can imagine and feel your desire fulfilled without constantly looking for signs of its manifestation. You trust in the process, knowing that as you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it must inevitably express itself in your outer world. Detachment allows you to live in the present moment while holding your assumed state. It frees you from the anxiety and doubt that can slow down the manifestation process. It allows you to enjoy the journey of manifestation rather than being solely focused on the destination. Practice detachment by reminding yourself that your imaginal act imbued with feeling is the reality. What you see in the outer world is just a shadow, a reflection of past assumptions. As you persist in your new assumption, this shadow must change to match the new reality you're imagining and feeling. Let us now address the importance of gratitude in using your God-gifted power. Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion. It is a powerful creative force. When you feel genuinely grateful, you are affirming that you already have what you desire. This aligns perfectly with the principle of living in the end. Begin to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for your desire, even before you see it manifested in your physical reality. Be thankful for it as if it were already yours. Feel appreciation for the abundance that surrounds you in all forms. The air you breathe, the sun that shines, the food you eat. As you practice gratitude, you are assuming the state of someone who has their desire fulfilled. This assumption, persistently held, must manifest in your outer world as the realization of your desire. Now let us explore the power of revision in using your God-gifted power. Revision is not merely about changing your memories or rewriting your past. It is about recognizing that the past only exists in your mind and therefore it can be changed in your mind. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review the events of your day. If there were any events that were not to your liking, revise them in your imagination. See them unfolding in a way that aligns with your desired state. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the fulfillment of this revised version of events. By doing this, you are not denying what physically happened. You are changing the impact of that event on your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon your subconscious a reality that aligns with your desires rather than one that contradicts them. As you make this practice of revision a habit, you will find that your reactions to current events begin to change. You will become less reactive, more peaceful, more aligned with your desired states of being. This alignment accelerates the manifestation process. Let us now discuss the importance of persistence in using your God-gifted power. While we speak of manifesting desires, it's important to understand that the speed of manifestation can vary. Some desires may manifest almost instantly, while others may take more time to fully materialize in your physical reality. The key is to persist in your assumption, regardless of how long it seems to be taking. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. If you waver in your assumption, if you lose faith in the process, you send mixed signals to your subconscious mind, which can slow down the manifestation process. Persistence doesn't mean forcing or struggling. It means consistently returning to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. It means choosing again and again to live from the end, to embody the state of having your desire realized. This persistence requires faith, not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, and that as you persist in your new assumption, your world must reshape itself to match it. Now let us address the role of self-concept in using your God-gifted power. Your self-concept, the beliefs you hold about who you are, is perhaps the most powerful factor in determining the path in your life. Many people struggle to manifest their desires because their self-concept contradicts what they're trying to achieve. They may visualize wealth, but deep down, they don't believe they're the kind of person who can be wealthy. They may imagine a loving relationship, but fundamentally believe they're unworthy of love. To use your God-gifted power effectively, you must be willing to revise your self-concept. This involves imagining and feeling yourself as the person who already has what you desire. It's not about creating a false image of yourself, but about recognizing and embracing your true, limitless nature. Remember, at your core, you are pure consciousness. You are not defined by your past experiences, your current circumstances, or the opinions of others. You are the awareness in which all these things appear. And this awareness, your true self, is infinite in its potential. As you use your imagination to assume your desired states, you are essentially recreating yourself. You are stepping into a new concept of self, a new understanding of who you are and what's possible for you. This revision of self-concept is crucial for using your God-gifted power effectively. As you align your self-concept with your desires, you remove the inner contradictions that can slow down the manifestation process. Now, let us explore the role of emotion in using your God-gifted power. Emotion is the fuel that powers your imaginal acts. It's not enough to merely visualize or think about your desires. You must feel them. When you combine vivid imagination with genuine emotion, you create a powerful impression on your subconscious mind. This is because your subconscious responds more strongly to feeling than to intellectual thought. The emotions you want to cultivate are those you would feel if your desire were already realized. If your desire is for wealth, feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with financial abundance. If it's a loving relationship you seek, feel the love, the connection, the companionship. These emotions should be so real, so intense, that when you open your eyes and return to your present circumstances, you carry with you a sense of fulfillment, as if your desire has already been realized. This emotional component is what distinguishes effective use of your God-gifted power from mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. When you can genuinely feel your desire as an accomplished fact, you are impressing it upon your subconscious mind as a reality. Your subconscious then works tirelessly to bring this feeling into physical manifestation. As we near the conclusion of our exploration, remember this: the power to manifest your desired life lies within you. It is your God-gifted power, your divine birthright. It resides in your ability to imagine vividly, to feel deeply, and to persist faithfully in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. The secret to manifestation is not determined by external factors, but by the intensity of your belief and the consistency of your imaginal acts. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply these principles in your daily life. Use your imagination consciously and deliberately to create scenes that imply the fulfillment of your desires. Feel the reality of your wish fulfilled with every fiber of your being. Persist in this feeling, even when your senses deny it. For as you do, you are reshaping your entire world, manifesting your desires with a speed and precision that might seem miraculous to others. Remember, you are the operant power in your world. You are limited only by your ability to imagine and to feel the reality of your wishes fulfilled. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding. And watch as your world transforms around you, reflecting the newfound mastery of your God-gifted power. Thank you. And may your journey of conscious creation be filled with joy, wonder, and the thrill of manifesting your deepest desires. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of, for you are the master of your destiny, the author of your reality. My dear wonderful friends, tonight I shall share with you the most powerful secret in all of creation: how to speak to yourself in a way that will completely transform your world in just 3 days. Not in 3 months, not in 3 years, but in 3 days. For you see, the power of your inner conversation is absolute, and it is the only true creative power in the universe. Now, when I tell you to talk to yourself, I am not speaking of the idle chatter that most engage in throughout their day. I speak of that inner conversation that is deliberate, conscious, and aligned with your desired state. For your inner conversation is your consciousness externalized, and your consciousness is God. Consider the words of Scripture: in the beginning was the Word. These words are not speaking of some external deity's utterance. They speak of your inner word, your inner conversation. For you are the operant power, and your inner conversation is the word that creates all things. Many of you come to me asking, Neville, how long must I wait to see my desires manifest? And I tell you now, give yourself 3 days of proper inner conversation, and you will see your world begin to transform. For 3 is the number of completion in Scripture. And when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. Let me share with you exactly how to conduct this inner conversation. First, you must understand that your inner conversation must be from the end. You do not speak of what you want to be true. You speak as though what you desire is already true. This is the great secret that most of the world has missed. When you wake in the morning of your first day, your inner conversation must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must be that of a wealthy person. If you desire health, your inner conversation must be that of a healthy person. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be that of someone who is deeply loved. But, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must feel natural. It must not be strained or forced. For feeling is the secret, and your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When David spoke to Goliath, his inner conversation was not, I hope I can win, or I will try my best. His inner conversation was from the state of victory already achieved. This is why he could say with complete conviction, this day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand. Now, for these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation as though your life depends upon it, because it does. Every time you catch yourself engaging in inner conversation that contradicts your desired state, you must immediately revise it. This is not a suggestion. This is a command if you wish to see your world transform. Consider this: every outer conversation you have is first an inner conversation. Every relationship you have is first an inner conversation. Every circumstance in your life is first an inner conversation. Therefore, by changing your inner conversation for just 3 days, you literally change the entire substance from which your world is created. Let me tell you how to structure your inner conversation throughout these 3 days. In the morning, your first inner words must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. Before you open your eyes, before you move a muscle, engage in the inner conversation of the person you wish to be. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my abundant life. Money flows to me easily and continuously. I am surrounded by prosperity. But remember, these words must not be mere affirmations. They must be spoken with a feeling of knowing that they are already true. Throughout your day, your inner conversation must maintain the same level of conviction. When challenges arise, and they will arise, your inner conversation must remain steadfast. If someone speaks of lack, your inner conversation must be of abundance. If someone speaks of illness, your inner conversation must be of health. This is where most fail in their attempt to change their world. They allow their inner conversation to be pulled into the current circumstances rather than maintaining the conversation of their desired state. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your inner conversation unless you give them that power. For these 3 days, you must be relentless in maintaining your new inner conversation. When you walk down the street, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you eat your meals, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. Your inner conversation is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, is a shadow of your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you literally create a new world. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, 3 days seems too short a time to change my entire world. Let me remind you of the story of Jonah. How long was he in the belly of the whale? 3 days. And after 3 days, he was transformed, and his world was transformed. This is not coincidence, my dear friends. This is law. 3 days of proper inner conversation is all that is required to set in motion the forces that will transform your world. But these must be 3 complete days, not 3 days of wavering between states. During these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation not just in your waking hours, but as you fall asleep. For the last inner conversation you have before sleep is particularly powerful. It continues to echo through your subconscious mind throughout your sleep. Therefore, as you prepare for sleep during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be perfectly aligned with your desired state. If you desire a successful business, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my thriving business. My customers are delighted with our services. Profits increase continuously. But remember, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. It must feel as natural to have this conversation as it feels to speak of what you had for breakfast. This is where the power lies, not in the words themselves, but in the feeling of naturalness that accompanies them. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your outer conversations. Therefore, during these 3 days, you must be particularly vigilant about your outer conversations as well. They must align with your new inner conversation. If someone asks you how you are, your response must come from your desired state. If someone speaks to you about problems or difficulties, your response must come from your desired state. Your outer conversation must be a perfect reflection of your new inner conversation. Many of you may find this challenging at first. You may be tempted to engage in conversations about current circumstances rather than your desired state. But I tell you now, this is where your power lies in maintaining your new conversation regardless of appearances. Consider the story of Jesus walking on water. What was his inner conversation? Was it about the impossibility of walking on water? Was it about the danger of the storms? No, his inner conversation was from the state of mastery over all natural laws, and his outer world had to conform to this inner conversation. During these 3 days, you must maintain the same level of conviction in your inner conversation. You must speak to yourself as though your desired state is already your reality, not as though it will be, not as though it might be, but as though it is. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise during these 3 days, and they will arise. When a doubt appears in your mind, do not fight it. Instead, immediately revise your inner conversation. If you catch yourself saying inwardly, this isn't working, immediately revise it to, everything is working perfectly. My world is transforming now. This revision must be immediate and complete. You cannot allow doubt to linger in your inner conversation. For remember, your inner conversation is the only reality. Therefore, a doubting inner conversation will create a doubting outer reality. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be dominated by gratitude. Not gratitude for what you hope will come, but gratitude for what is already yours in your desired state. This gratitude must be part of your inner conversation throughout the day. When you wake in the morning, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you go about your daily activities, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your inner states, and your inner states create your outer world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of wealth consciousness. If you desire health, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of health consciousness. If you desire love, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of being loved. Many of you may be wondering what to do if you slip in your inner conversation during these 3 days. Let me be very clear, you must not condemn yourself. Instead, immediately revise the conversation. Remember, you are training yourself to maintain a new inner conversation, and like any training, it requires practice. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary focus. Every other activity must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation, for you are literally recreating your world through this conversation. Let me share with you how to structure your inner conversation for specific desires. If you desire a new home, your inner conversation might be, I love living in my beautiful new home. Everything about it is perfect for me. If you desire a promotion, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my new position. It's everything I desired and more. But remember, these are not mere words. They must be accompanied by the feeling of living in that new home, the feeling of working in that new position. For feeling is the secret. And your inner conversation must generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be specific. Vague inner conversation creates vague results. Therefore, speak to yourself with clarity about your desired state. Be specific in your inner conversation about what you are grateful for, what you are experiencing, what you are enjoying in your desired state. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your self-concept, and your self-concept creates your world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about who you are, not just what you have. If you desire success, your inner conversation must be about being a successful person, not just about having success. If you desire abundance, your inner conversation must be about being an abundant person, not just about having money. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be about being a loved person, not just about having a relationship. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be continuous. Not in the sense of constant chatter, but in the sense of consistent alignment with your desired state. Every time you become aware of your inner conversation, it must be from your desired state. Let me share with you how to maintain this continuity. Set reminders for yourself throughout the day. Every time you look at your watch, every time you eat a meal, every time you enter a room, let these be triggers to check your inner conversation. But remember, your inner conversation must not be mechanical. It must be alive with feeling, rich with the emotion of your desired state, for it is the feeling that gives power to your inner conversation. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be sovereign. You must not allow anyone or anything to dictate your inner conversation. Not circumstances, not other people's opinions, not past experiences. Nothing must have power over your inner conversation except you. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your expectations, and your expectations create your experience. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create the highest expectations of good for yourself. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, what if my desired state seems impossible? Let me remind you, nothing is impossible to your inner conversation. Your inner conversation is God in action, and to God all things are possible. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about possibility, not probability. You must speak to yourself from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of how probable or improbable may seem to your rational mind. Let me share with you how to handle apparent failures during these 3 days. If something happens that seems to contradict your desired state, your inner conversation must remain unchanged. You must speak to yourself as though the seeming failure is actually part of the perfect unfolding of your desire. Remember, your inner conversation is creating your reality, not the other way around. Therefore, no external circumstance has the power to change your inner conversation unless you give it that power. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant companion. It must be the lens through which you view every experience, the filter through which you interpret every event, the standard by which you measure every circumstance. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your belief system, and your belief system creates your reality. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must consistently reinforce the beliefs that support your desired state. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be a perfect reflection of the person you wish to be. You must speak to yourself as that person would speak, think as that person would think, feel as that person would feel. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of consciousness. When you catch yourself speaking from your old state, immediately ask yourself, how would I be speaking to myself if I were already the person I wish to be? Then revise your inner conversation accordingly. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about what is, not what was or what might be. You must speak to yourself in the present tense from the state of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial for the manifestation of your desire. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your future, but it does so by creating your present. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must make your desired future your present reality. Many of you may be wondering what will happen after these 3 days. Let me tell you, if you have maintained the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you will have set in motion forces that must result in the manifestation of your desire. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary tool for creation. Every other method, every other technique, every other approach must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation. Let me share with you how to know if your inner conversation is correct. If it feels natural, if it feels real, if it feels true, even in the face of contrary evidence, then your inner conversation is correct. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be protected like a precious jewel. You must guard it against doubt, against fear, against negativity. For your inner conversation is the very substance from which your world is created. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with yourself creates all other relationships. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must reflect the highest, most loving relationship with yourself. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your sacred practice. You must treat it with the same reverence that a priest treats his prayers, that a scientist treats his experiments, that an artist treats his creations. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of devotion. See your inner conversation as your direct connection to the creative power of the universe. For that is exactly what it is. Your consciousness in action, creating your world. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant reminder of who you really are, the operant power in your world, the creator of reality, the God of your universe. And that, my dear friends, is how you must talk to yourself for 3 days if you wish to transform your world. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but consistently, continuously, constantly. For your inner conversation is the word of God in action, and it cannot return void. Remember this, your world is your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, guard your inner conversation for these 3 days, as though your life depends upon it, because it does. So what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue with your old inner conversation, creating the same results you've always created? Or will you begin today, this moment, to maintain a new inner conversation that must create a new world? The choice is yours, but the law is absolute. Your inner conversation creates your reality. Therefore, speak to yourself for 3 days as though your desires are already fulfilled, and watch your world transform. That's the message I want to leave you tonight. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, 3 days of proper inner conversation will transform your world. Every single time. And isn't that worth thinking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of our discussion is I am rich, I abundant. Money affirmations for prosperity, happiness and wealth. Now let us embark on this journey of understanding and revelation together. First and foremost, I want you to understand that the words I am are the most powerful in any language. They are your self-definition, your concept of self. Whatever follows, I am shapes your reality. So when you declare, I am rich and abundant, you are setting in motion a divine principle that cannot fail to manifest in your world. You see, my dear friends, the universe is mental. It is responsive to your thoughts and feelings. Your consciousness is the only reality. What you perceive as your physical reality is nothing more than an outward picture of your inner assuming. Therefore, to change your world, you must change your concept of self. Now let us delve deeper into this principle. When you say, I am rich and abundant, you are not merely repeating words. You are making a declaration to the universe. You are impressing your subconscious mind with a new concept of self. And your subconscious mind, being impersonal, will accept this new concept and begin to work tirelessly to bring it into manifestation. But remember, it's not enough to simply say the words. You must feel the truth of them. You must live from the end. What do I mean by this? I mean that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must feel now what you would feel if you were already rich and abundant. Imagine for a moment that you are indeed rich and abundant. How would you feel? Would you feel secure, confident, generous? Allow yourself to fully embody these feelings. For it is the feeling that gives life to your words. It is a feeling that impresses your subconscious mind. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I'm not rich. I have bills to pay. I have debts. How can I feel rich when my current reality shows me otherwise? And to this I say, your current reality is nothing but the harvest of your past thoughts and feelings. It has no power over your future unless you give it power by continuing to dwell on it. Instead, I urge you to live in the end. Make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. For assumption, though false to the outer world, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives. It's called the law of reversibility. This law states that if a certain state produces a certain outer condition, then that outer condition must, in turn, produce that state. In other words, if feeling rich produces wealth, then wealth must produce the feeling of being. Now you the Kate. You don't have to wait for the outer condition to feel the inner state. You can start now. You can feel rich now, regardless of your current bank balance. And as you persist in this feeling, you will begin to see your outer world change to match your inner state. This, my friends, is the true secret of wealth creation. It's not about working harder or smarter. It's about changing your concept of self. It's about embodying the state of wealth and abundance now, in your imagination. Remember, your imagination is the gateway to the subconscious. What you imagine with feeling, your subconscious accepts as reality. And once your subconscious accepts something as reality, it begins to work day and night to bring it into manifestation. Do you imagine yourself as rich and abundant? Can you feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with true wealth? Can you walk through your day, interact with others, make decisions from the standpoint of being wealthy? If you can do this, if you can live in the end, feeling the reality of being rich and abundant now, then I tell you truly, wealth and abundance must come to you. It is law. Now let's talk about the power of affirmations. When you say, I'm rich and abundant, you are not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You are declaring a spiritual truth. You are aligning yourself with the infinite abundance of the universe. You see, abundance is your natural state. The universe is infinitely abundant. And you, being one with the universe, are also infinitely abundant. Any lack you perceive in your life is simply a misalignment with your true nature. By affirming, I'm rich like abundant, you are realigning yourself with your true nature. You are claiming your divine inheritance. You are stepping into the flow of universal abundance. But remember, affirmations are not magic spells. They're not about repeating words mindlessly. They're about feeling the truth of the words. They're about embodying the state you desire. When you say, I am rich or abundant, Feel the truth of it in every cell of your body. Feel the excitement, the gratitude, the joy of being rich and abundant. Let this feeling permeate your entire being. And as you do this, watch how your world begins to change. Watch how opportunities for wealth creation begin to appear in your life. Watch how your relationship with money transforms. You see, when you truly feel rich and abundant, you begin to make decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. You begin to see opportunities where before you saw only obstacles. You begin to attract people and circumstances that align with your new concept of self. Now let's address a common misconception. Many people believe that to be spiritual, one must reject material wealth. They believe that money is somehow unspiritual or dirty. But I tell you that such beliefs are not based on truth. They are based on a misunderstanding of the nature of the universe. The universe is abundant. Nature is abundant. Look at a single apple tree producing hundreds of apples, each containing multiple seeds, each seed capable of producing another tree. This is the nature of the universe. And you, being one with the universe, are meant to experience this abundance in all areas of your life, including your finances. Money is simply a symbol of exchange. It is a tool. And like any tool, can be used for good or ill, but the tool itself is neutral. It is our consciousness that gives it meaning. When you declare, I am rich and abundant, you are not being greedy or materialistic. You are aligning yourself with the natural abundance of the universe. You are preparing yourself to be a channel through which abundance can flow, not just for yourself, but for others as well. For true wealth is not about hoarding. It's about flow. It's about giving as well as receiving. When you are truly rich and abundant, you have more to give. You have more resources to make a positive impact in the world. So I urge you, let go of any guilt or shame you may feel about desiring wealth. Embrace your desire for abundance. For in doing so, you're embracing your true nature. Now, let's talk about the importance of persistence. You see, when you begin to affirm, I am rich and abundant, you may not see immediate results in your outer world. Your bank account may not instantly overflow. But do not be discouraged. Remember, you are working with law. Just as a farmer doesn't plant a seed and expect to harvest the next day, you must give your new concept of self time to bear fruit. The seed has been planted in your subconscious mind. Your job now is to nurture it, to water it with your continued assumption, your continued feeling of being rich and abundant. This is where many people fail. They start with enthusiasm, affirming their new state. But when they don't see immediate results, they give up. They revert to their old concept of self, their old patterns of thinking and feeling. But I tell you this, persistence is key. You must persist in your new assumption until it hardens into fact. You must live from your desired state, regardless of appearances, until your outer world conforms to your inner conviction. Remember, your outer world is nothing but a reflection of your inner state. It may take time for your outer world to catch up with your new inner state. But if you persist, if you remain faithful to your new concept of self, your outer world must change. It's law. So I ask you, can you persist in the assumption that you are rich and abundant, even when your senses deny it? Can you continue to feel wealthy and prosperous, even when your bank account says otherwise? Can you live from the end, feeling the joy and gratitude of being rich and abundant, even before it manifests in your physical reality? If you can do this, if you can persist in your new assumption, then I promise your world will change. Your reality will reshape itself to match your inner conviction. Now, let's discuss another important aspect of manifesting wealth and abundance. Detachment. This may seem paradoxical. How can you desire wealth and abundance and yet be detached from it? But this detachment is crucial to your success. You see, attachment creates resistance. When you are overly attached to a specific outcome, when you are constantly checking to see if it has manifested, you are actually pushing it away. You are coming from a place of lack, of not having, which contradicts your affirmation of abundance. Instead, cultivate a state of calm knowing. Know that you are rich and abundant. not because you see it in your bank account, but because it is your true nature. Know that wealth is flowing to you through you and from you, not because you need it to be happy, but because it is the natural expression of who you are. This detachment allows you to live joyfully in the present moment, rather than constantly projecting into a future where you will finally be rich. When you can be happy and content now, regardless of your external circumstances, you open yourself up to receive even more abundance. Remember, the universe responds to your vibration, your state of being. When you vibrate at the frequency of lack and need, you attract more experiences that match that vibration. But when you vibrate at the frequency of abundance and gratitude, you attract experiences that match that higher vibration. So I urge you, as you affirm, I am richly abundant, so from a place of calm knowing, of joyful detachment, know that you are aligning yourself with your true nature and trust that the outer manifestation will follow in divine timing. Now, let's delve deeper into the concept of money itself. Many of you may have negative associations with money. Perhaps you've been taught that money is the root of all evil, or that rich people are inherently greedy or unspiritual. These beliefs, whether conscious or subconscious, can create resistance to the very abundance you're trying to manifest. So let's reframe our understanding of money. Money, in its essence, is simply energy. It's a tool for exchange, a symbol of value. Like any tool, it can be used for good or ill, depending on the consciousness of the user. When you affirm, I am rich abundant, you're not just calling for more pieces of paper or numbers in a bank account. You're aligning yourself with the energy of abundance, with the free flow of value and resources. Imagine money as a river of abundance. This river is always flowing, always abundant. The only question is, are you standing in this river, allowing it to flow to you and through you, or are you standing on the shore, watching it flow by? When you truly embody the state of being rich and abundant, you're stepping into this river. You're allowing abundance to flow to you, through you and from you. You become a conduit for abundance, not just a receiver of it. This understanding transforms your relationship with money. Instead of seeing it as something scarce that you need to hoard, you see it as an abundant resource that flows freely when you're in alignment with it. So I ask you, can you release your old limiting beliefs about money? Can you see it as the tool of abundance that it truly is? Can you step into the river of abundance, allowing it to flow freely in your life? As you contemplate these questions, I want you to really feel into the state of being rich and abundant. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself surrounded by abundance in all forms, not just money, but love, health, opportunities, experiences. Feel the joy, the freedom, the security that comes with true abundance. Now open your eyes. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. For this feeling is the key to manifesting the abundance you desire. Let's now talk about the role of gratitude in manifesting wealth and abundance. Gratitude is a powerful force that aligns you with the frequency of abundance. When you're truly grateful, you're acknowledging that you already have enough, that you are already abundant. This might seem counterintuitive. You might think, but if I'm grateful for what I have, won't that prevent me from receiving more? Not at all. In fact, the opposite is true. Gratitude opens you up to receive even more abundance. You see, the universe responds to your dominant thoughts and feelings. When you're constantly focused on what you lack, you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, and you attract more experiences of lack. But when you're grateful for what you have, you're vibrating at the frequency of abundance, and you attract more experiences of abundance. So as you affirm, I am rich abundant, do so from a place of deep gratitude. Be grateful for the abundance you already have in your life, no matter how small it may seem. Be grateful for the abundance that is on its way to you. Be grateful for your ability to co-create with the universe. This gratitude will amplify your affirmations, making them even more powerful. It will align you more fully with the state of being rich and abundant. Now let's address another important aspect of manifesting wealth and abundance. Action. Some people misunderstand the law of assumption, thinking that if they simply assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, they can sit back and wait for abundance to magically appear in their lives. But this is not how the law works. Yes, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is crucial. But this assumption should inspire and guide your actions, not replace them. When you truly embody the state of being rich and abundant, you will naturally be inspired to take actions that align with this state. You'll make different decisions, see different opportunities, interact with people differently. For example, someone who truly feels rich and abundant might be inspired to start a business, invest in themselves or others, or give generously to causes they believe in. They might be drawn to learn more about wealth creation, to network with successful people, or to upgrade their skills. The key is that these actions come from a place of inspired action, not desperate action. They come from a place of abundance, not lack. They are a natural expression of your new state of being, not a struggle to make something happen. So as you embody the state of being rich and abundant, what inspired actions are you drawn to take? What opportunities are you now seeing that you might have overlooked before? How are you showing up differently in your work, your relationships, your daily life? Remember, these actions don't need to be grand or dramatic. Small, consistent actions taken from a place of abundance can lead to profound changes over time. Now let's talk about the concept of circulation. In nature, everything circulates. Air circulates, water circulates, energy circulates, wealth is no different. It's meant to circulate, to flow. Many people, when they start to accumulate some wealth, hold on to it tightly out of fear of losing it. But this tight grip actually constricts the flow of abundance. It comes from a mindset of scarcity, not abundance. When you truly embody the state of being rich and abundant, you understand that wealth is meant to flow. You're not afraid to spend money on things that bring you joy or add value to your life. You're not afraid to invest in yourself or others. You're not afraid to give generously. This doesn't mean being reckless or wasteful. It means trusting in the abundant nature of the universe. It means knowing that as you allow wealth to flow out, you open yourself up to receive even more. Think of it like breathing. You need to exhale to make room for the next inhale. In the same way, allowing wealth to flow out creates space for more to flow in. How can you allow wealth to circulate more freely in your life? How can you loosen your grip on money, trusting in the abundant flow of the universe? As we continue our exploration of wealth and abundance, let's discuss the importance of self-worth. You see, your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. If you don't believe you're worthy of wealth and abundance, you'll subconsciously sabotage your efforts to create it. Many people have deep-seated beliefs that they're not good enough, not smart enough, or not deserving enough to be truly wealthy. These beliefs often stem from childhood experiences or societal conditioning. But I tell you this, these beliefs are not the truth of who you are. You are a divine being, created in the image and likeness of God. You are inherently worthy of all the abundance the universe has to offer. Your worth is not determined by your bank account, your job title, your possessions. Your worth is inherent, unchanging, and in it. So as you affirm I'm rich, abundant, also affirm your inherent worth. Know that you are deserving of wealth and abundance simply because you exist. Know that the universe delights in your joy and wants to support your highest good. This sense of self-worth will magnify the power of your affirmations. It will allow you to fully embody the state of being rich and abundant without self-doubt or self-sabotage. Now, let's address a common concern. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about the less fortunate? Isn't it selfish to focus on my own wealth and abundance when there's so much poverty in the world? This is a beautiful question, and it speaks to your compassionate nature. But I want you to consider, your impoverishment does not enrich anyone else. Your lack does not alleviate anyone else's lack. In fact, the opposite is true. When you embody the state of being rich and abundant, you become better equipped to help others. You have more resources to share, more knowledge to impart, more opportunities to create. Your abundance can become a blessing to many. Moreover, you demonstrate that it's possible to create wealth and abundance through the power of your imagination and assumption, you inspire others to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible, igniting hope and possibility in those around you. Remember, abundance is not a zero-sum game. There's more than enough for everyone. By claiming your abundance, you're not taking away from anyone else. You're simply aligning yourself with the infinite abundance of the universe. So I urge you, embrace your desire for wealth and abundance without guilt. Know that as you prosper, you become better equipped to contribute to the prosperity of others. Now, as we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address the concept of divine timing. Some of you may be wondering, how long will it take for my affirmations to manifest? When will I see the results? The truth is, there's no set timeline for manifestation. The seed you plant in your subconscious mind will germinate and grow in divine timing. Your job is not to worry about when or how your desire will manifest, but to remain faithful to your assumption. Remember, time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of spirit, where all creation takes place, there is no time. Your desire is already fulfilled in the spiritual realm. Your job is to align your consciousness with this spiritual reality until it manifests in your physical reality. So don't become anxious or doubtful if you don't see immediate results. Don't keep checking your bank account or looking for signs that it's working. This doubt and anxiety only serve to negate your affirmations. Instead, rest in the calm assurance that what you have assumed in your imagination must come to pass. Live each day from the state of being rich and abundant, regardless of appearances. Trust in the law, knowing that it never fails. As we come to the close of our discussion, I want to leave you with this final thought. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume to be true, what you feel to be real, must manifest in your world. The words "I am rich and abundant" are not just a phrase to be repeated. They are a state to be embodied, a truth to be lived. As you consistently assume this state, as you live from this truth, you will see your outer world reshape itself to match your inner conviction. Remember, this is not about forcing or struggling. It's about aligning yourself with your true nature, with the abundant essence of the universe. It's about remembering who you really are, a divine being, infinitely worthy, inherently abundant. So go forth from this place with a new understanding. Know that wealth and abundance are your birthright. Know that you have the power to create the life you desire. Know that as you prosper, you become a beacon of possibility for others. Carry the word "I'm rich and abundant" not just in your mind, but in your heart. Feel the truth of them in every cell of your body. Let them inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Live from this state and watch as miracles unfold in your life. And always remember, the greatest gift you can give to the world is the fullest expression of yourself. As you step into your abundance, as you allow wealth to flow freely in your life, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living testament to the abundance of the universe. So I say to you one final time, you are rich, you are abundant. This is the truth of your being. Embrace it, live it, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. Thank you for your attention. May you go forth and create a life of boundless wealth, prosperity, and abundance. The power is within you. The time is now. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace your divine inheritance and let your light shine brightly for all to see.